Love podcast with Mr. and Mrs. Mr. We believe in every season of life, especially marriage. You need to laugh, learn, and love. I am your host, Mr., aka Jeffrey Mr. Right beside me is my wife of almost 15 years, 2 kids, a lot of dishes.
Mrs. Mr., aka Dana Mr., and together we are the Misters.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this episode.
Oh yes, it's something I've been wanting to do for like I know 6-7 months. I'm getting this lady today. If you may know her, you may not know her.
But by the end of this episode, you will know who she is.
Yes. Today we talk about balancing sex, parenting, and marriage. I know your mouth. I know everybody listening. And we have who we affectionately call
Mama D.
Mama D.
But to you all, she is Danita Brown.
Give a round of applause.
Good morning.
Mama D. Tell us who you are first before we even talk about sex, parenting, and marriage today on this on this episode today.
It is such an honor and a pleasure to be with my two favorite kids. I love you guys so much.
Love you too.
They text each other in the same house. They text each other. Well, I am Danita Brown. Most people call me Ma Dear.
Yes.
I am a retired educator of 31 years.
Yes.
I am a wife of 38 years.
Woo!
We dated 5 years.
Yes.
And he tells everybody he's been married all his life. Between us, we have 4 children.
All right.
13 grand.
Oh.
And a great grand.
All right. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes, we have a great grand. And I just love life. I love young people. I love keeping it real.
That's what we want.
Because some things that I've gone through in life, if someone had been real with me, I would have known how to take it better and not been gone through so many struggles. But it's just an honor. Also, I am a member of Brown Missionary Baptist Church. I have recently been added to the Mothers Board.
Yes.
We're still out on that one. I'm 65 years old. And also, I am a 13-year cancer survivor. Yes, breast cancer. And oh my God, I have just started living. You think you're living when you're young. This is my third living. I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying life to the fullest.
That's what I'm talking about there. Of somebody, and if you just get a chance to introduce yourself to Mama D, this lady is a wealth of knowledge. And like she said, she's on the motherboard, but not like you think of like this is the realest motherboard member I've ever met in my life. And like you said before, somebody who keep it real. Somebody who can break down, like we talking about today. We're talking about balancing sex, parenting, marriage, and everything in between. We have a lot of friends that are going through different things that are younger. Some people older too, going through things too. She has been through almost everything, and still, like you said, she look good. Look at the look.
I'm gonna continue. You know what? Now this is my motto: the same thing it took to get him, it's the same thing it takes to keep him.
All right, now.
And when he started looking to the left, I said, okay, Mama D, let's do something about this. Lady Clara is my best friend.
Online. She is fixing this hair. She is putting this.
Yes, and it's all yes.
Yes, and that's what we love. That's what we love about you, Mama D, that you keep it real, you're honest, you're genuine, like you're everybody's family member, I feel like. You know what I'm saying? Like people can associate with you. And so we felt like you were our first choice of finding somebody who could really get to the heart of like sex, like talking about, is it like before, after you got married? How did you learn it? Like parenting, raising kids, you got 4, you got grandkids, you got a great-grand. I didn't even know that. And
we
marriage, the ups and downs of marriage.
And even just through the whole part about the sickness and health, you know, that's one of the things that we say in our vows. And you have literally been through, with you and your husband, sickness and health. So we can't wait to dive into it.
Yes.
But before we go deeper, we want to do
we want to do Mr. 13 and rapid fire 13 questions.
Oh Lord.
So Mama D, I'm going to ask you, or Jeff and I are going to ask you a series of questions, and we want you to just spit it off, whatever the first answer that comes to you. Okay,
y'all ready?
Look,
y'all ready?
Okay. All righty, well, here we go. How many kids are perfect to have?
4.
Are boneless wings really chicken nuggets?
No.
Are you politically correct?
Sometimes.
What's your favorite car?
Lincoln Continental.
Oh.
Do you know how to salsa dance?
A little bit.
Okay.
What does the acronym SCUBA stand for? What? I have no idea myself.
Scuba dive.
Scale of 1 to 10. How good are you at Family Feud?
Oh, 10. I want to be on that so bad.
We're gonna get you on Brown. With
Yeah,
your
we gotta
members.
get you that. Bring you on Family Feud.
Yeah.
I would be on Brown, but Steve would be excellent.
Bring it in. Bring it in. Do you believe in love at first sight?
No.
Okay.
Oh. How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
0.
What's your ideal outside temperature?
Outside? Oh, 40.
Oh, whoa. You cold out. You a cold blooded.
Love it. I love the winter.
No.
Dana knows it. I play in the snow every year.
Oh, okay. I played it for
But
a
I
second.
played it for a second, but I want to come back inside.
Uh-uh.
My toenail.
If everyone in the world had to get married when they reached a certain age, what would that age be?
To get married?
Mm-hmm.
Now, back a long time ago, I would have said in their 20s.
Okay.
But nowadays, these babies need to wait a minute, about 30. The new generation.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Have you ever slapped someone in the face?
And you bet not slap me. No. That's the worst thing in the world you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I don't slap.
Okay. Got it. Would you rather be rich and have great sex with your husband or be, would you rather be broke and have great sex with your husband or be extremely rich and never have sex again with your husband?
The questions, they go
That's kind of low. Okay.
We got you on the hot seat. Which one you go?
You got me on the hot seat because Diana Ross is nothing. You're nothing without true love. So I'm going to say I would rather be. We've had our best times when we didn't have anything.
Oh. Okay. That's what, yeah.
True love.
True love. You survived. You survived the 15. You survived.
Those are good questions, though.
You survived.
So, but I do have a question. So why don't you believe in love at first sight?
Because a lot of times we get infatuated with the looks and the appearance of the person. And we never know their heart and their mind. As a woman, you can be so infatuated with The Rock or Denzel, and you get home and you got Silence of the Lamb. I'm just saying. I'm serious. We get so infatuated with the outer appearance of a person, but you need to learn a person's heart. You need to learn their heart. And my mom said, you always find someone who loves you more a little bit, but nowadays that's dangerous. You don't want to let go. Sometimes we pass what God has for us looking at the outer appearance. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You might, you might marry somebody, he might stutter a little bit, or he might not, be built. He might have, I love a little bit of good. My husband, he had a little good. Now he got real good. But I'm just saying, I liked it that little good. Back in the days, he was athletic, but he still had just a little bump. And that was sexy to me. His hands are his sexy part to me. It's strange. I know. But his hands.
What about his hands, though? What about his hands?
They're masculine. When we met, they were always masculine. And when he helped me, it was just like a warmth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was
a lot of people think that I'm jumping ahead, but sometimes as a woman and men, I just want to be held. There's no physical. Just hold me.
All right, so fellas, get your hand game right.
Right, get your hand game right.
But those hands, the little guy, he got to you. He got to you.
Yeah, he want me to hit like Steve Irwin. He wore me down.
Talk about it. Okay, so every episode, Mama D, we like to laugh, learn to love. We do a little laugh.
Okay.
And so get into the learn portion. Starting off with sex, we just gonna jump right on into it.
All right. right.
Sex, I guess, itself. So, like, what thought process did you have about sex going into marriage, and how did that impact your marriage early on, or just any time during marriage?
Is this rated R?
Oh, let me tell you something. You can keep it. You can keep it all the way 100 on here.
Yeah.
100. So yeah. So just
into marriage.
Yes.
Your parents, my parents. You gotta remember, I'm 65. So my parents, my grandmother was in the house. So she believed in you cover it up. You keep everything covered. You ladies don't do this and ladies don't do that. But going into marriage, I was afraid. Now, mind you, I was smaller. And as my husband told me, he said I was fine. But
Mama D.
He did. He told me I was fine. He said, you know. But I didn't feel like I was fine. I was shy. I grew up with 4 brothers. I was a biker, so I wasn't into the girly thing at first. But I wouldn't even let him see me undress. I know. I didn't even want him to know I pooped. I'm being honest. Yeah. Because it was the way I was raised.
You tried to show the best version of yourself.
Huh?
You tried to show the best version of yourself at all times.
At all times. I didn't want him to know that I did that. I always went to bed kind of covered up with these, as he said, those long granny gowns on. And then we'll say after a year into the marriage, I started to kind of blossom and get more self, and I always kept this in my back of my mind. Every man wants a woman on his arms in the daytime. And every man wants to look.
Hold on, Mo D. You can't, I ain't gonna let you escape out of this. You're gonna have to finish off just in case somebody like, what is she talking about?
Okay, a man wants a woman on his arms in the daytime, and he wants a hoe in his bed at night.
Now, I was gonna say a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets.
Yeah? No, you had to break it down. Yeah. Right, now you got your freak got a certain limits. Now wait a minute. Like, come on now, we got nope. Some things we in R. Kelly, we ain't doing that.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, but I'm serious. I tell the girls, all the ladies, all the time. Some nights come to bed without the rollers. See what I'm saying?
Pause right there for a second. You can say that.
So now it's bonnet. So take off your bonnet.
Girl, I can shoot them bonnets. I can shoot those bonnets. Like, yeah, no. Take the
bonnets are not meant to be worn outside the house. I just want to put a plug.
Right, but also the sex doesn't start in the bed.
Say more about that, Mama D. Say more about that.
You sure? Okay. Back in our days, we lived, the kids, your kids are going to be there. But every other, we'll say once a month or twice a month, we could, the kids would go to grandma's house. And we didn't have to go out. I remember one time over at our other home, I told him to go take a shower and get that out. So I ran in the living room, I had everything prepared, and I made a pallet like a picnic. And I had the candles, the grapes, the cheese, the wine in the den floor. That's our house. And when he came in there, y'all, he was just blown away, stuff like that. So it starts there. It don't always got to wait like back in the old and Walton days where it starts in the bed. You better start that thing in the car. You better start teasing in the car. You better start teasing if you can make it to the stairwell. You better start teasing, and sometime by the time you get to the bed, it's time to go to sleep, y'all.
Hope somebody in here, Mama D. Hope somebody.
Yeah, you don't just start, you've got to make, even at our age, you still got to keep it going. Because I ask God all the time, I said, Lord, let us live to get 80 plus more years. Because I want to know what 80-year-old people do. And when I make that statement, somebody say, go to sleep. I'm not going to sleep at 80. I may not wake up. I want to continue. How did she go? Happy.
If I'm going to go out, that's a good way.
I'm going out smiling. Smiling. Yeah, so you've got to put creativity in your marriage. I remember, and you know what? Some people said, well, I don't have the money to buy this and buy that. Oversized t-shirt. Scissors.
Cut it on. Cut it on up. Cut it up.
The heart's where you want him to be.
Cut it.
Now y'all put your imagination there.
See, I told y'all. Hold on, let me talk to my audience for a second. This is why I told y'all Mama D you protect Mama D at all costs. This is why I love you, Mama D. I'm thinking of this, right? So for women who are listening, for men, for couples, anybody who's listening right now, who fit into it, like, you know what? I don't have that creative thing, or I don't think to do that, or like sex was such, like they taught me purity, growing up. They taught me like, don't have sex at this point. Now I'm married, and I hear from people too of like, I still have that same mindset of sex is dirty. Sex is not, you shouldn't do it. And it's hard to flip that switch. What advice would you ladies give to somebody who is still in that place of like, you know what? I want to be like, I don't mind being a lady in the street, but I don't know how to be a hoe in the street. I don't know how to do that. What advice would you give to that person?
You got to listen to your husband. You got to find out what he likes. And you would be fine. You would be kind of tickled to find out that they kind of like the same points that you like, that we like. I found that out some years ago. They have points, what they think we like, they like it too. So with that being said, I can remember one time, it was so funny. We were in the garage talking smack in the garage. Now you go from there. And when you're married, now you can't do this now because things have changed.
We might. I'm telling you.
Car.
Oh, the car. Oh, yeah. See that? See, Mom, that's what. Mom.
Car.
How did it happen for you though? Do you
in the car? You got two.
No,
you got two children on.
I'm saying, to be able to get to that place that you were comfortable doing it in the garage car, wherever, on the stairwell, wherever y'all got.
Because who initially talked to you about being intimate and having sex? Who was the first person? Were you taught? Did anybody? Do you recall like your grandmother, your mother?
No, because it's not unfortunately, because I think every child that comes here I thought I was in love, and my first time doing it, having sex, I got pregnant. Oh. He's 40. You met him. He's 47 now.
Wow.
And his father's deceased. So after then, it was a long time before I felt comfortable anymore, Plus, my mom said she was going to get me.
Oh, okay. Understand?
Yeah. So your mom never.
My grandmother always told me men were after one thing, and that was your pie.
Yeah.
Okay, your pie.
She said they just want your pie. Once they get your pie, they gone. And they talked. My mom. They told us what to do to keep from. They really didn't talk about in those days about what to do to keep from getting pregnant. They really didn't. They just told you not to do it. So like the kids now, you tell them, hey, don't go, that stove is hot. They don't believe you until they test it for themselves. So it was kind of like that. But the good part about it, my mother never condemned me for making that one mistake.
How old were you when you got pregnant?
18.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was 18. I was my senior year.
Wow.
And in your senior year, you didn't go to public school. We went to Pine Hill School for pregnant girls.
Oh, wow.
You were not, no ma'am. You couldn't go. You had to go to Pine Hill, which was an all-girl for pregnant girl school.
Really?
And that was the most, so with doing that, my mother didn't even have to worry about that no more, because that was so, and they treated us so well, and all the doctor checks.
It was a good support system.
Good support system, but still I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because I had to go to that school.
And so you didn't get to graduate with your friends, the people
my son's birthday was in November. So I was able to go back to school. I couldn't go back to school for 6 weeks. When I went back to school, now that was it. I was in a dance club, and I just knew they was gonna not let me back on. But my instructor, she was so sweet. And she talked to me, and she was one, she said, we all make mistakes. And she said, but you got to get this weight down. Well, I wasn't real big, because I figured out if you ate sausage for breakfast and you went to school and they took your blood pressure, what was going to happen? Your pressure was going to be elevated. So I got to come home a lot of days from that school because my pressure was up.
She found a
I figured that. Yeah. So I said, "Ooh, that'll get my pressure up." So I might have went to school. I still had to do my work, bring it home, but I didn't have to stay at school. So once I got, I had to go to an extra gym class, and I got the weight down, and I was allowed to participate in everything, in the dance club, majorettes, everything. Uh, Even got back to riding my motorcycle, stuff like that. So I enjoyed my senior year was awesome. Wow. So yeah, I got to enjoy, graduated, everything.
Oh wow.
So how was it being a young mother raising a son, and then but you still, went to college, you was able to do all those things, then you met your husband and now y'all been married for 38 years. So walk us through, like, how was that for you?
Well, like I said, his father died at a young age. Michael and I met right kind of in between it, because going back to when I found out I was pregnant, his mother was a teacher. My mom owned her own record shop. So we lived in Glenville. So we were not, I didn't know it. I thought we were poor, but they said we wasn't. So I don't know. Okay. But my mother was very supportive. So the two families met, parents. Girl, that's all I can tell you. I should have had a heart attack that day. And so him and I talked. They left us in there to talk. And my words to him was, now, like I said, he was cute. I don't take that from him. But I realized that I wasn't drawn to him because I loved him. I was drawn to him because of his looks. Everybody wanted him, da da da. But we had this conversation. He said, "You want to get married?" So I'm looking at him like, okay, I'm 18 years old. I'm finna get married. I said, if you're not marrying me because you can tell me that you truthfully love me, then no. I said, because I love you, but I'm not in love with you. And we laughed and we giggled, and then they came in there, and his mother said, so when is the big day? And my mother, you should have met her back in them days. She says, no, they will not be getting married.
Because back then it was common for, like, if you were to get pregnant, then you typically got married.
My mother told him and his mom. She says, and they are best of friends, but she told him and his mom. She said, I have plans for my daughter. She said, my daughter is going to college. She said, but if my daughter marries you, she's going to get a house full of children, and you're going to leave her.
Wise
woman. We both looked at each other. My mom says, I just wanted you all to know. She said, because I don't want to carry the burden by myself. She said, but I'm here. My mom was very kind of straightforward. She said, I'm here out of politeness. She said, I'm not here for you all to take care of the child. The child will be well taken care of. And that's what's wrong with him now. He's spoiled. But that day made a difference in my life. That I didn't have to settle for second. I didn't have to settle for this just because I was pregnant. So I went through the pregnancy, had the baby. My mom told me she didn't want me to hurt during labor. I mean, everything was smooth, but she did tell me this, I'm going to get you. So that stuck in my mind. So I never got pregnant again. Never until I got married. But my mother she talked to me and told me, you made a mistake. She said, we've all made mistakes. She said, but what you do after the mistake. I finished high school, went to college, met Michael, I want to say my second year of college. I knew him, but we didn't kind of start dating till my second year because I had to build my nerves back up to go out with a guy. I had to build my nerves back up. And he would pick me up and I'd give him the runaround and all that kind of stuff. But after then, I decided, hey, I made that one mistake. I don't have to make another one. And then also, I didn't let that didn't happen to entrapment. I didn't want that. I didn't want to stop his life either because he didn't rape me. It was consensual. I made a mistake.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Dan, did you have any similar things with that? Like in terms of coming up, how was yours? We heard Mama D on that side. Your situation, like with sex coming up?
Well, I think for me, although it's so amazing how things continue to repeat itself, because Mama D, what year was this when this happened? 1973. So I was born in 1983, right? And so by the time
a baby, really.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? But this is where I'm going. But so by the time I got to 2000, 2001, like I'm junior, senior, I guess, or even middle school, like it's still just to show, like even from her mom generation to mom generation to my mom generation, they still didn't talk to us about sex. Like I didn't know. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think it was one of those things in the Black community, or even it could be all communities. I'm not sure, but I know for the Black community, for my mom, like she didn't talk to me about sex, like or my grandparents didn't talk to me about sex. I think it was kind of like one of those things. Like I learned about sex in 8th grade with the health class, and I shared with this before, but they really told you about the STDs because Mississippi at that time was like #1 for teenage pregnancy. So their way of trying to prevent pregnancy was to show you all about the STDs and all of that stuff. And so with that being said, so then it was like a fear about having sex because I don't want to, all that stuff they showed you, chlamydia and syphilis.
The little white, the little
I didn't want that. So my thing is, I think now as parents, it's so important that we teach our children about the benefits of sex, especially when you're in a biblical marriage, right? When you find love that you want to grow with, spend the rest of your life with, that, so sex is a good thing when you're in, a biblical marriage versus like the fear factor.
We always think our parents are mean, but they mean what they say. And I thank God every day that my mom did not give in because I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't change anything. You know how you look back over your life and you say, well, Lord, if I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Good point. So we're going to talk about like balancing parenthood with the spouse. And this is going to be even more interesting because you had a child before you and Mr. Michael got together. So just talk about that. Which is harder? I guess the first question is, which is harder, being a spouse or a mother, and why?
It's harder being, they're kind of equal because you have to learn how to balance. That, like I said, my son was about 2-3 years old when Michael came into the scene. So his father died right after this. So he only knew Michael, and him and Michael they hit it off. I mean, he would pick at Mike when he come over, stuff like that. But once we got married and then I had another child, it was the balance. And I had to realize, and I tell the young ladies now, people say, well, I'm not going to put anybody before my children. You're not putting anybody before your children, but you're finding a balance there. Because let me tell you something, children get grown and they leave home.
Say that one more time, Mama D. One more time.
He ain't right. He ain't right. But seriously, children get grown and they leave home. So what we found, I had to find a common denominator to when even the hardest thing for me was when Michael had to discipline my oldest son.
Oh
yes.
Yeah. So now
he needed discipline because him and his friends was up there throwing rocks at this empty house. Yeah. And Michael called him and he came home and he says he's in trouble. And my son was crying and he told me what he had done. Well, that did water a little spanking, but not from you. But he thanked him. And I had to take, and at the time we was in the process of moving, we was staying with my mom, and all of us had to go to the back because everybody was ready to whoop my husband.
Oh, wow. See, that's an interesting component of like a blended
family.
Family. Oh my God, my mom and it was kind of but that broke us in. He didn't kill him. He didn't throw rocks anymore. And to this day, when he called, where my dad, he can be in trouble. I'm here with my dad. You see what I'm saying? So balancing is like during the summer, we always made sure that we took them, educated them, we traveled a lot, but also we made sure my husband and I took a vacation together with no kids.
Yes.
Long folks time.
Yes.
You got to find that balance, yes, we took our kids to dinner with us, but doing twice a month, we had date night, no children, and we went out to eat, or we went out of town on a vacation, or we might just decide we wanted to stay at home. So we were blessed to have where I had, my mom would let him come up, would keep them and stuff like that. Right. So you have to balance, and you cannot put the children before your husband. You got to stay united in front of your kids. Try your best not to let them see you disagree, but also don't let them grow up in this fantasy that married people don't disagree.
Conflict, right?
Right. Now you shouldn't be knocked down. You should never touch each other. That's one thing I keep telling my young girls. Keep your hands off of these grown men that you did not give birth to.
Say that, Mama D.
Because I have boys. Well, one girl said, well, a man should never hit a woman. A woman should never hit a man. Because you might catch that man at the opportune moment, you hit him out of reflex. I never forget my husband acted like he was everybody knows me, no, I don't like to be slapped. So we were kidding around. And he acted like he was gonna slap me.
You said that in the question earlier, in the 13 questions earlier.
Right, and so reflex made me
ball your fist up a little bit. You're like, oh, where am I?
The fist went before I could stop it. And you know what my husband told me? He said, go to sleep.
Because he knew he was mad, bro.
And asked me, what did I do with my dumb self? I went to sleep.
Everything was fine. You were able to work it out.
Because I just knew he was pissed. He said, I think you better go to sleep. I got in the bed and I went to sleep. I could have woke up dead. But I never did that again. And he knew how serious that was about me, not to do that. But we always made sure if we disagreed, it wasn't a knockdown disagree. It was all right for the kids to hear us arguing about the color. But they should never hear you in a rage of saying things that you cannot take back. Because you give these kids a false sense of security that, hey, when I get with a man, he's never going to fuss. He's never going to argue.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then in this false world, when they get out there and somebody yell at them, their feelings are hurt. You see what I'm saying? So it's a balance in there. I put my husband, I got to take care of his needs. But I got to be able to take care of my children. So it's a balancing act. You got to balance it, and you, like the Bible said, put none before. But at the same time, the kids didn't ask to come here. No child asked to come on this earth. You chose to bring that child in. And with a man, I'm old school. I tell myself, if you were married to my husband, you would be in the psych ward. Because they feel like he should wash, he should cook, he should clean. I saw my husband cook one time. I said, please don't touch my pots no more. I saw him wash. You do not put the towels and the underclothes together. And to him, the room is all right and everything's all over the room. So I told him at an early age, you take care of the outside, I take care of the inside. That's just our.
Right. You got to find out what works.
Right. You got to find out what niche. Because like my neighbor, she does my flower bed and she does the yard because she loves it. Her husband does inside because he loves it. So you can't compare. You can't keep looking over in somebody else's fence.
Yes.
And his dad is always taking him here. His dad is always doing this with him. Their dad is da-da-da. Okay, but when you get inside those closed doors, the dad of the year becomes the
word. You said
balance of the lamb with the mom and the children.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because I used to complain about this group, this couple. They would be at this former church and they was always at the altar together. They was always holding hands. And come to find out, they was cussing each other out.
So don't look at the outside of something
Yeah,
else.
so I'm looking in your grass over there thinking your family is the family. And I'm complaining about my family. And sometimes you have to stop and look and say, oh, wow. Wow. So you got to find your own niche. When you get in a marriage, you say, hey, I'm going to be responsible for going to the grocery store. That's all right. That works for you. But don't compare me to your relationship. You see what I'm saying? It's just like some people like girls' trips. Getting with the girls, going out of town. Now, I didn't mind my husband going out of town with the guys. They used to go to New Orleans to that, what's that game?
The
Classic.
Yeah, the Bayou Classic.
Now, I went with him a couple of times. I didn't have to go no more. Because I felt like if anybody wanted to blow up the nation, they just come there and they get every person in the world. So I didn't have to go. So him and his guy friends would go. I didn't have a problem with it. Because when he came back, he was going to be give me 100%. Because he'd been missing me for a few days. I don't have a problem with that, but they said, well, what about a girls' trip? Well, this is my motto. We can shop all day long. But ain't nothing we're going to do at night. Oh my goodness. And I can spend his money better than I can spend my money. So, but that's just me. Some people love the girls trip. Don't take it. There's nothing wrong with the girls trip. I think it's a lot of fun. I've been on a couple and it's fun. But now every year, I like to keep my money and my honey close.
Ain't nothing wrong with either one of those.
Right. So, you got to learn to balance out your children, your lifestyle. You got to be there for each other. And like I said, with the kids, my grandmother used to say, enjoy them while they're on your lap. Because Lord have mercy, they're on the heart now because they grow. So enjoy your little ones because they're going to get grown. And Lord have mercy.
That's what people are telling us too. One thing that we were trying to do, like when we first had kids, we waited 7 years to have our first child, so we got a chance to travel and do.
Well, I was there. That was my church party.
To get there too. One thing too was like trying to now. There's a new person in this. It used to just be the two of us. Now there's a new person that we created together, and now trying to find a time to balance between those two things. I think that's something that we had to learn and are still learning how to balance that. And we popped another one out. We got pregnant again. Found out 8 months after the other one. I was like, what are we? This ain't, hold on now. What's going on? And I remember Dana texted me on my way into work. She was like, she took a picture of the.
I was excited.
And I was like,
what? I know the story, yeah.
I was like, what have you done? So like trying to find a balance between like now it used to be our time together and then, now balance with kids. I know talking to some guys, I know they struggle with that a lot too of like, you know what, now, like not resent the child, but now, who you were with beforehand, now they're
somebody mama.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
No longer just my wife. Now that person is somebody mother.
Yes.
Well, her natural instincts will kill you about her kids.
Yep.
You see it. So we don't play about our kids.
I mean, we balance. I balance. Don't get it twisted. I balance myself out. But when they were younger, you didn't mess with. We still had that motherly instinct. That hey,
So let me ask you this: for those who are career moms, right? So because you are a career mom, like so, and I think one of the things that for help men to understand is it's not where it used to be where the mom stayed home and was able to attend and make sure you had the breakfast, because like I shared before, my grandmother was a stay-at-home mom, so she made sure breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She made sure he took his lunch for work, the house is clean, took care of the kids, was able to take care of his needs at night or whatnot. Whereas now it's like, for the working career moms, it's kind of like you have a profession, then you have the kids, you're trying to take care of the husband. Like my thing is, the kids are now involved in activities and all that stuff. You're trying to build a side business, so speak to that working mom, like with that balance to make sure, because I think sometimes as women, we feel like the whole world is on our shoulders, right? We feel like the whole world is on our shoulders because we are trying to do so many things or try to take care of everybody, needs, to where then you start forgetting about your needs, all that stuff. So can you speak? Yeah.
You're taking care of everybody else and you forget about yourselves. And that goes with the cancer. I can remember when I was, my kids were at home. Every morning, I got up and they had a light breakfast, dropped the youngest one off at daycare, dropped the oldest one off at school. They're 10 years apart. Then I went to work. Got off, I was a teacher, faculty, whatever. When I got off, picked the oldest one up from my mom's house, picked the baby up from daycare, went home. We had a meat, 2 vegetables,
Wow.
Kool-Aid, whatever dessert was that Sunday. Then, while I'm cooking, you're at the table doing homework because either my husband was either at work, getting off work during that time. Then after dinner, I had to clean the kitchen up. Yeah, I cleaned the kitchen up. He would spend time with the kids, got them ready for bed, got their clothes ready for the next day. Because back in those days, we believed in ironing clothes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
we still do.
Yeah. So he helped with the clothes, got them ready for bed. Then got myself ready for the next day to do this all over again. Now, that was back in the days when the men were taught they didn't do anything in the household, in the house. So you see where it was a different era than it is now. But also I taught my children to be responsible. My oldest was the oldest, and my youngest, I told him he had, he would work with him. So that helped out a little bit, just a little bit. But then, like you said, once I got through with everybody else, then I had to go into wife mode. When you're younger, okay. But as you get older, you have to learn new tricks to make the night not so long. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. And got up the next day because I used to tell the young girls, well, one won't, another one will. So I always tell my husband, if he went out there in them streets, it's not because of what he wasn't getting at home, it's because he just wanted to.
Yeah. So you went.
So, but then my husband got on the night shift. So that changed everything. He started working 3 to 11. So by the time we got off work, I got off work, he was at work. He worked for Kimberly Clark, so he was at work. So that kind of relieved me a little bit of the nightly chores because my oldest son, he thought he could make the best omelets in the world. So some nights we would eat omelets. A lot of days we stop and eat out, and we didn't stop at no McDonald's. We went.
Y'all were going to sit down and eat.
Back in the days, we were going to Houston. When the salad went before 99. Yeah. But I'm just saying, so still I had to get home, do what I had to do, make sure he had food. My husband had a plate, and then do that routine. What I didn't know then that I know now, I did not have to clean up every night. The house didn't have to be spotless. You know what I mean? Now, my living room and my den, it was always company ready. But everything didn't have to just be in place like a showroom.
Wow. Where does that come from, Mama D? Because that's the same thing. That's why
Because when I grew up, we had living room, dining room, den. And you didn't go in the living room.
Yeah.
Because your living room was prepared for your
like a type of thing.
Yes. And it just instilled in me, even when we built this house, I still wanted that same format, living room, dining room, den. But you just have to learn how to balance, because you can work yourself as ladies. We can be too what they call it, OCD. Yeah. It's all right for a coffee cup to be in the sink all day. Some people would beg the difference. That's fine.
No, Mama, you hit somebody. You keep on, stay right there.
But I have learned that, okay, I didn't have time to fold the laundry this morning or today. It's all right if I put it off another day, because stress will kill you. Stress will kill you. And we as women, we think we superwoman, we can do it all. And it's just, we can't do it all. Because by the time nighttime comes, there's no time for the husband, because you're so worn out, you're so tired. But sometimes you have to learn how to balance that. Yeah, I taught my children early on how to fold clothes. I didn't make them wash, but I taught them how to fold clothes. I taught them how to sweep and vacuum. You know, by 4th grade, you should know how to run a vacuum cleaner.
Oh, for sure. Oh,
yeah. See what I'm saying? So you have to balance it out, but also in all of this, you got to still find time for God.
Yes. Mama D, you dropping.
I would put it like that, find time, because God is already there. We just got to find time to connect with him. Women, we got a lot of balancing act to put in there. But at the same time, men have to step up too. Things have changed. The men, you've got to step up and help us, because that's why so many women come up with cancer and different things. Because of that stress that we have put ourselves under back in the days.
Yeah, other thing was, when we were talking before, was I would ask them, I was like, who was this person that is making you feel like all these things have to be done in those times? And I'd be like, what is it? What? I think you guys kind of alluded to that, of like, if you saw that coming up, like,
yeah, I mean, basically, you know, and I think just putting things in perspective, I mean, you did see that coming up. Like, I know for me, it's like your house had to be a certain way, you clean. Like, I'll never forget this time. Like, and it's just some things that just instill in me. Like I remember my mom used to wake me up in the middle of the night if the dishes weren't washed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just certain things that your home had to be a certain way. And I think another thing too, not only just growing up seeing that, but it's just something about, for me, and this is just for me, I can't speak for anybody. If it's clutter, it's like my whole mind, like my whole aura is off.
Well, I'm plastic.
Yeah.
So I can't stand clutter.
Yeah, so like if it's like stuff everywhere, or it just feels like if my home is in a disarray, it's like my internal clock is in a disarray. So even for my car, like Jeff knows, like I go and I clean my car, or I get somebody to clean up, wash my car, because for me, this is where I am. So it's something would be off, you know. So like even like in Jeff, I mean, Jeff is kind of like a hoarder. Like he loves, like Jeff will keep, like he have these to-do lists, like these yellow pieces of paper, and they be all over. And I'm just like, why don't you just throw them away once you finish?
Right. That's the purpose of the sticky note.
Yeah, and so like, or even like the mail. Now with the mail, I'm like, okay, recycle trash, because all the bills are paid online or taken out automatically. So you know, I'm just like, what is so? That's just for me. Like, I just feel like.
So now I'm not saying don't clean up, don't keep, but what you should have a routine. Yeah. Your home should be where it's always in place, because people will walk in and say, I said, no. I said, I just believe in putting it back up when I finish with it.
One thing on that point was, like with kids, one thing we've always talked about is trying to, like when we had our first child, right? We had the bassinet right beside. I think you went to DC. I was like, I'm moving this baby out of this thing.
Yeah, my baby was 8 months old.
I'm moving this baby out, because I was like, when are you playing? This baby gotta get evicted. We can't keep having this baby over here. And so now the baby.
And then stop us to get another one. So.
That's right.
With a baby out. With a baby out there. And so we were able to, you know, joke about it now. But I know so many couples that now the baby's 3 and the baby's still sleeping in between them, and either the wife or the husband, you know, somebody is like, and somebody feels a parental thing, like, well, the baby needs me or the child needs me at that point. Any advice that you guys have for that couple, like we were, that somebody had to evict the child?
And so let me just say that my baby was not 3, my baby was 8 months, and he took my baby.
I think this baby got to go.
You have to remember, when the baby's young, we're afraid that something's going to happen and we don't hear. And they didn't always have the monitors for the baby room, okay? My husband, like I said, he started working nights. So he would come in there and ease in the bed while his daddy wasn't there. And his daddy, we thought it was cute when he come home, he'd get up and he'd get to pick his son up and nurture him, put him in the bed, right? Because he was about 2 years old. But he would come in and get in the bed with me. So my husband grew old today. He said, why do I have to pick this joke up? By that time, he in kindergarten.
Get your grown tail.
What is this? This was 4. He had an accident in the bed. When my husband came in, not my side, his side of the bed was wet. He said, this joker better not get. That next day, he said, let me tell you something, little bud. Don't get in my bed no more. Because you wet my side of the bed again. And so he stopped sleeping with us after that. But after he got to be 2 and 3 years old, yes, it's time for them to come out the bedroom, go in their own room, you know. Teach them all the safety things. Now, my sons are grown. That the baby boy, when I went through treatment, he came in and got in. I mean,
yeah, which is,
we were fully dressed, but he got in the bed with me. And now, if he got something, not now, not since COVID, he can't come in here. But I'm just saying, back in the days, we still have that bond, but you have to learn to break the bond because you're too old. My husband said, "No, that's too old. You got to cut the cord."
Yeah, well, this is the thing because I do have a bond with my daughter Malia, and and so I think Malia, she has her own bed and all of that stuff.
2 beds, 2 grown beds, Mama D.
But she still comes there and get in the bed with you guys.
But she still, because let me tell you, so when we were active, with everything before COVID and stuff hit, like Jeff used to go to comedy. And so she used to just come and get in the bed with me and she'll be there. And so she's like her, and it was so crazy. She's like her dad. Like she loves to be cuddled. She's very affectionate. And so that's what she wants. She missed my warmth and all of that stuff. And so even she'd be like, even if I'm just like sitting on the couch, she'll just come and she'd be like she is that person.
That's just that bonding, and you want them to continue to have their relationship. You want them to continue to have the openness to talk to you. For your son, even if your son wants to come in there and get in the bed, he should be allowed to come in there because that builds that bond where he can talk. My son is grown now. He feel like he can just talk to us about, especially his dad.
And for me, I feel like it makes them secure. It makes them more secure versus like telling them no. And so my thing is, I want them to have secure relationships, future relationships. So honestly, I just feel like we're preparing them for their future significant other.
Hold on, can I understand this moment?
But no, I'm not saying all the time. But what I am saying is just
he won't have to go out there and look for love in the wrong place.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Listen, I'm all for all of what was been said.
Because she would even go and get in the bed with him, even if I'm not here. Like when I leave or have to go to work early, she'll just turn over to him and just snuggle with him. I mean,
but you know what? Let me tell you about that for a girl. That is so awesome because she has the security that I can lay next to this man.
And that's what I want to have.
That's what you want her to have. And my mom bought me my first diamond ring. And you know why she bought it? She said, so the first knucklehead to buy you something, you won't be impressed with it.
You won't be jumping around, flipping, you turn and flip.
That's why. And said she made it hard for the next guy because the first time I was engaged and he gave me a ring, I went home, we showed it to my mom. Within an hour, we were back at Sears returning that ring. It didn't, I should have been devastated, but I wasn't because I wasn't impressed by the ring. Yeah. I was in, we were young. She said, not yet. And I'm so glad.
Yes. And that's the thing too, like for us, like I tell Jeff this all the time, like, even with us traveling and showing our kids and exposing them to different things, because my thing is, especially for Malia, and I hope for Jace that he realized that this is the expectation that's being set. So he would do the same for his significant other. But for Malia, I just don't want her to be like, whenever somebody do something for her, like my thing is that she could be like, I don't want her being arrogant, but I want to be like, what is this? Like that child, my mama them that took care of me. Like I need for, to step it up. So,
when I grew up, my parents had cabs on the cab stand back in the days when Uber, y'all call it Uber, now we call it the cab company. And I would get to drive the brand new cars to school. So I wasn't impressed with a joker had a new car.
Right, yeah.
Because I drove new cars all the time.
That's good.
I had my own motorcycle. But you don't want to overbearing, because I remember when we were talking about, I don't want them to feel like they're more than anybody else, but you also want them to find out that I'm not impressed with your materialistic thing. I want to know, it comes good to have, don't get me wrong, but I want to know, how do you treat me as a person? Yeah. I want to know your heart. And that's what we got to teach our kids. Learn a person's heart.
Right.
Because you never know when that person might have to hand you a glass of water.
Yeah.
So you all are doing awesome. I watch you with your kids. You expose them. They're there. But also they stay in children's places.
Oh, yeah.
When I watch y'all, I be going like, wow. You ever seen people with kids and the kids take over the conversation?
You want to choke?
Look, I found myself. I told my mama, I was like, I found myself repeating some things like, "Stay in your place." Like I remember her saying,
"Girl, get out my Kool-Aid. This not your flavor."
It is so funny, even this morning, and I told Jeff I love like even the because me and Malia are super duper close, right?
Good.
But I know now she's really started to develop a closer bond with Jeff, so I was getting kind of jealous because even this morning she went in and she was telling Jeff something. I was like, Malia, what are y'all talking about? Oh, it's just me and Daddy conversation, and I was like, but I mean, tell me, what are y'all talking about? And she was like, but mommy, me and you have mommy-daughter conversation. So me and Daddy got to have, and I was like, but I don't want you to.
That's also, you got to start pulling back and not micromanage. You do not have to learn. You do not have to know everything that's going on. You do not have to do everything that's going on. That's going to eventually, because like, you know, when my son now kind of feel comfortable asking his daddy, but he shouldn't. But back in the days when he asked his daddy for money, that was awesome for me because they didn't mess with my play money. When he, but it's awesome that she's developing. Now she's getting older because she's how old now?
She's 8 now.
Right. She's developing that bond. Guess what's about to happen?
Don't tell me.
It's a crossover. She's gonna get closer to him, and your son is gonna get closer to you. And there's nothing like that love of a son for his mother. The girls, they kind of fickle, but the boys, you know what I'm talking about, Jeff. That bond for that mom, off the chain.
Yeah, because Jace
trying to get closer to her dad.
So
their mom is role models for what they're looking for.
Yes. Okay. Even now he tells me now if I eat, because you know I told them that I want them to keep me accountable. So you know I don't supposed to be eating sweets, and he'd be like, "Mommy, are you on a diet?" And I'd be like, "Jace, can I just have one?" And he'd be like, "Okay, you're gonna end up on 600-pound life." And I'm like, now that's where he gets some of his daddy from.
So it's a balance, and you've got to learn how to balance family life and still keep your life exciting.
One quick point I was gonna say with the thing about the men of like coming home, communicate with your lady. You know, if you come home and the child is in there 6 of the 7 days, you know, you come home just like your husband had to, you know, pick the child up. I had to pick Malia up. I throw him on my back, or Jace, I just throw him into the bed. You know, he land wherever he lands at that point. But being able to communicate that, because I know sometimes I didn't communicate that of like, you know what, like. Especially on a night where it was a rain check night, you'd be like, well, tomorrow I got you. And I come in, I see one of them kids, and I'd be like, this joker here? Hold on, this is my night. This is not Malia's night. This is my night. And so
you should have been creative right there. They were in the bed. They were in your bed, right? But how many more other rooms in that house?
Oh, listen, I'm signed up now. I got to move somebody. I either got to move Dana out the room. So that's the point of, and she'll be.
Well, see, that's when Dana has to be creative. She knows kind of what time you come in, right? So then she could meet you at the door.
I'm for it. Sign me up. Sign me. She be that thing deep sleep slobber, full of slobber.
It would be so funny. My husband, I knew what time he got out of work.
I got my rain check slip right here. I'm ready to cash my rain check slip in there. So,
yeah, he would get off work late at night, and I would meet and greet him. You see what I'm saying? You got to be creative. You got to meet and greet. You know, meet and greet. There are other rooms in the house. Children don't have to know. Just don't be keeping up a lot of noise. And that formal living room. Formal living room that you got that you never use.
Hello, I'm for it. That's what
you bought that couch. You paid for that sofa in there.
And you got that. Yes. You got that quick.
But any last minute advice from Mama D? Any advice from Mama D that you would like to share? We're gonna wrap this up. But
I know I've enjoyed talking with you all. One thing I did want to hit on is that when as you know, I'm a 13-year cancer survivor. And as women, we're so used to taking care of everybody else, we forget about ourselves. So I always remember that the doctor says, I said, well, how did I get it? It wasn't hormone, it wasn't estrogen. I said, so how did I get cancer when nobody else in my family has ever had breast cancer on either side? He said, stress, being a woman, environment. And then he went back to what? Stress, being a woman. And I always remember, I tell everybody some years before that, I have a husband, I had a child going to college. I was teaching every day, fast tracking, getting my master's, building a house, selling a house. And my best friend of 25 years died. All of that crashed within that 5-year strand. And once we moved in this house, I got cancer.
Wow.
And we all have got to start taking better care of ourselves. Women, we're so busy taking care of everybody else, making sure your needs are met, the children needs are met, the house needs are met. And the Lord help if we got a job on the outside, we forget about ourselves. We lose ourselves in our taking care. We lose ourselves. We forget about God. Not, and don't get me wrong, and I'm gonna be honest, because see, I used to didn't read like I should, so I had to go to church on Sundays to get my word. You know, and I know there's some Holy Ghost, holy feel gonna beg the difference. But I'm just being honest for me. But when I got cancer, it brought it to the light. People say, well, how did that change you? It changed me to let me see that when I was down sick, I couldn't do it. I had to let other people come in that wanted to come in and take care of me. So God had to change me. So it's all right to get help. It's all right for people to help you. I thought you had to be this preacher when you connected with God, but I found out it's your personal relationship with God. It's how, and I tell them, Lord, this your child. I know I'm coming to you too much this week, but Lord, I need you. And I remember that third time, did not know it, my liver was being compromised. And I remember falling on my face in the bedroom. And I said, Lord, if you don't help me this time.
Powerful.
I won't make it. And that's when I always remember this. I hear people, it was like a cool breeze came. And I've been running ever since. And I promised God that I would be there for anybody that was going through cancer that need me. So that's my calling in life. I thought my calling was going to be entrepreneur for the kids, working for Shelby, you know, for the school system, doing this and doing that. I saw me speaking before thousands of people. I thought for the school, but God showed me your plans are not my plans. So my thing is, sometimes God has to slow us. Then it's for me, my testimony, not nobody else. I haven't been saved all my life. And when I was going to church, I still wasn't doing right. Be sharp as a tack, going up in church. As my husband said, I was sharp as a tack and $2 in my purse because the other $2 I had spent on the purse. And I tell myself, you ain't got to tell everybody, but it drawed me closer to God. So now I know it when they say God is a healer. I had stage, by the time they caught, I was stage 3.
Oh, wow.
Stage 4, but yeah, stage 3, didn't know where it came from. It was progressing. I had 2 tumors. Wow. But look at God. I only had to have a lumpectomy. Wow. By that third treatment, the one cancer was gone. And the other one, when we went back, after I prayed to God, when I went back, he said it was dust.
Wow.
Because my faith, I had to pray for myself. I had people praying for me, but then I had to pray for myself. And I used to tell people, I used to go to church. I thought because I went to church every Sunday, it was it. But what was I doing when I left church?
Yes.
So now I tell people the church is in me. God had to show me, I am your healer. But not only he did that, he showed me that he was my provider. We had just built a brand new house.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? I had to come off work.
Yeah, a little more stress.
Nowadays, the home is a 2 income. Sometimes you need a little 3. You want to put a little Johnny in them to work to maintain. But God, through that, I lost nothing. I lost nothing, but I gained a closer walk to God. As far as my husband, he can leave the toilet seat up now because I knew he loved me. But when I went through that and he was there, I now know, you know, we had that little thing, you know, somebody loves you. But like you said, when you take them vows, he's going to be there through thick and thin. Yeah. And he was there for me. That's why I tease him all the time. I said, boy, you know, but we've always had an awesome relationship. yes, we have our ups and downs. We've had our disagreements, but we have never spent the night. I left him one time. Went up to my mom because he had made me mad, and he was talking about me spending too much money. That's our biggest argument. And so I went to my mom's house and I was saying, he just want to control me and he want this and he want that. And my mom looks at me and she says, now what did you do? So I couldn't set her out, right? So I went home and set him out and I hadn't left home since.
It came back.
My advice, first of all, is to love yourself. Love yourself. You need nobody but God to validate you. God validates me. Stop judging your husband and comparing him to someone else's husband. Stop judging your wife, comparing her. Oh, she fine, but she can't cook. She has no personality. You see what I'm saying? So find your own knit. Love the person. Love the one you with. Love the one you with and stop looking over the fence at everybody else's and make your home be what you want it to be. Okay? But you got to put God first and you got to give God some time and then you give your husband some time and then you give your children some time and then everybody else will fall. And stop overdoing it. You can't do everything. My advice to the young ladies today is to love yourself first. Everybody is not a 36, 24, 36. Now they, ooh.
I ain't gonna say no numbers.
They don't say no numbers. But everybody's not made up alike. Everybody doesn't look alike. You've got to love yourself. God made you. So you telling God you made a mistake. No, God didn't make no mistake. And so if something bad happened in your life when you were younger, don't let it define you. I shared you, Dana, something that happened in my life. And I could have been one of those persons out there because, oh, this happened and I just don't love myself anymore. Love yourself. Love yourself. Love God. Then love yourself. And find your place in life. Why am I here? I'm still keeping the house hot. See, y'all old school, y'all old people. I'm still keeping my house hot.
In the summertime.
Yeah.
In
the wintertime. And I still keep my car hot.
Yeah.
So,
but I love that what you stated. And one thing that Miss Orr shared, and I appreciate that, but something when you said a lot of people, especially women, we ask ourselves, what is our purpose? What is our purpose, right? But sometimes your purpose may be what your season is, right? So for me, my purpose may be I'm a wife and I'm a mother, right? Then the next season may be so my thing is we're so busy trying to jump to, figuring out, well, what is my purpose? And you're out there trying to do all these things. Or
come on.
Say you're so busy doing everything to where you're doing nothing.
With nothing.
Yeah, so it's like just so know where you are in your life is your purpose. Like, you went through where you are, your purpose was like you were a mom, a young mom. Then you got married. Your purpose was that with having more kids and educator. Now you are being able to share your testimony with so many different women that you wouldn't be able to share if you wouldn't have gone through the trial of having cancer, and now your purpose is walking through with other women, so I believe it's a testimony to us. Wherever you are in your life, that is your purpose. That is what God has destined for you to be, and not be so quick to because everybody's not destined to be a millionaire or a billionaire. That's not what God called us to be. If that was the case, we wouldn't have the issues that we have. So again, just trusting God enough to know that where you are, that is your purpose.
That'll do it there. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all
and be the cheerleader. Be the cheerleader for. I don't want to be one of these older women where I can't cheer I can't cheer Dana on. If I had maybe about 40 pounds smaller, I could wear that black suit and them stiletto, them red bottoms.
Yeah.
With your fishnets.
Fishnets. Fishnets. I'm gonna have to have the fishnets on. But be honest and say, and I'll compliment. I can be walking in the store and I say, girl, you look so pretty. And then I tell them, I say, now look, I like beef hot dogs, not kiwi. I said, but you pretty. Or I say, I love that outfit you have on. We've got to be able to give compliments and not be jealous hard of the next person, because you never know what God has planned for you. You see what I'm saying? So everything that's happened to me in life, did it feel good when I was going through? Lord, no. But it made me who I am today. I would never be able to minister to young girls and be able to minister about cancer, be able to minister about the struggles when my husband lost his job and we had 2 new cars and a house. And God sustained us and we didn't lose not anything. You see what I'm saying? We went through, that's another segment when Kimberly Clark went out of business, when what he made in a week is almost what I made in a month, and all that income fell. You see what I'm saying? Then when I got cancer and couldn't work. So learn to enjoy life, appreciate life, appreciate what you have. Because and then somebody was talking about they was getting ready to build a home. I said, now look, let me tell you something. I used to look at these people, these big, the large homes, 5, 6 bedrooms, all like that. I said, who gonna clean it up? You got to clean that house. You got to be careful what you ask for. You got a house note. So I thank God for where I am in my life now. I feel good about myself at 65. Do I have good? Now, some days health-wise is not good, but I'm learning to enjoy life and to move on and and the hardest thing I had to do was let the adult kids go. Let them live their life, because quiet as kept, we did things. I did things.
Sure, yeah.
So now when they do it, we act like they just committed the sin of the century. But then I had to stop and look at myself and say, I did used to drink Boone Farm, didn't I?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just enjoy life. But I want to thank you all so much for having me on today. This has been awesome.
We have to bring you back home, Mama D, for
and then I won't get put out.
I know you'll still be able to stick it there. Yeah. We always end an episode with the Mr. Munsters, or whether people are listening or watching, arguing through this time, or they disagreed on something like, you need to fix the toilet seat up. We always end these 3 things. You look at your spouse and tell them, I like you, I love you, and I want you. Your little,
aww, that is so sweet. Y'all are so cute.
So thank you, Mama D.
Thank you, Mama D.
Thank y'all. You know I love you to pieces. I love you guys so much.
I love you too, Mama D. Thank you for coming on.
Okay, y'all have a blessed one. Bye-bye.
Subscribe. New episodes every Tuesday of the Laugh, Learn, Love podcast with Mr. and Mrs. Mister.